Hello and welcome to Busy Pro Fast Wellness, and today's guest is Graham Hawley, a certified health and wellness coach and the founder of Simply Health Conscious. He helps busy adults boost their energy, improve their health and build sustainable habits, but without resorting to crash diets, complicated routines or indeed burnout. His approach is built around 5 core pillars: nutrition, movement, sleep, stress, and mindful alcohol use. Yep, that's certainly useful for sure. All simplified into small, realistic steps that actually stick. If you've ever felt like you know what to do, but just can't make it work consistently, this conversation is definitely for you. Graham, great to have you with us, and welcome to the show today. How you doing?
Well, thank you. I'm doing great, Alan, and thanks for the invite. It's much appreciated.
I absolutely love doing these podcasts, and all the guests I've had over the last couple of years, it's been a real delight. So fantastic.
Well, I think it goes down to making the small daily changes. Now, if somebody is listening to this and is looking to make lifestyle changes, it can be overwhelming, because the thing with these 5 pillars is that they don't operate independently. So when one is ignored or is weak or weakens, well, the others will eventually pay the price. So you really have to, 1, make a commitment, and then 2, I would probably say start with nutrition.
Okay.
And understand that this takes time. If you've gained weight over the years, even decades, or you're on medications for high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes, you're not going to see changes in a week.
Yeah.
This does take time. Now, I do have to say this right off the bat, Alan. If anybody's listening to this and you're now going to make a commitment to yourself that you want to make lifestyle changes that can easily, and I mean that, easily lead to weight loss. It will also lead to your doctor eventually reducing and eliminating your medications for high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. I've seen it firsthand with clients. Okay. So this is important, what I'm going to say.
Right.
You have to get yourself a ledger or a journal, and you have to not just take your blood pressure and your blood sugars 3 times a day. You have to log them down. And I would say you need to start by going to your doctor, tell him that you're planning on making lifestyle changes. Have your blood work done, because then 3 months later, when you have your blood work done again, you've got some reference there to how things have improved.
Yeah.
And then when it is time to go back to your doctors, if you're not logging it down, then you have nothing to show your doctor.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you log it down, you can say, okay, I told you I was making lifestyle changes. Here's where I was on week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Here I am at week 7, because again, my experience or my clients' experience is your blood sugars and your blood pressure will naturally start to regulate. Okay. So your doctor, it seems to me that at some point your doctor won't have an option but to first reduce your medication and then eliminate it.
Brilliant.
And in that interim, I'd say give or take, it takes about 3 months, but you'll see weight loss, you'll see your skin improve, you'll have more energy, more clarity. Well, you'll be moving from surviving to being alive and thriving.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, that's wonderful to know, this idea that people can, in fact, reduce their medication and even come off the medication. It's one of the age-old beliefs, I think, is that once you start, for example, high blood pressure pills, then you need to continue with them, and that's it.
Well, that's what most people are told by the doctor, unfortunately. Yeah. And I know it's the same in England. I'm from England, but I live in the United States at the moment, and it's the same here. And no disrespect to the medical industry, but it's disease management. They don't rejuvenate your health. They don't bring you back to good health. They manage your disease when you walk into the doctor's office.
Yeah.
So I say self-care is my mantra. Self-care is the new healthcare. You got to get engaged, especially in the 21st century, because of the misinformation, the disinformation, deceptive packaging by food companies.
Well, I'm aware of that. I'm
yeah, well,
aware
exactly.
of that, yeah.
You're aware of that. And the fact that children and teenagers are now being diagnosed with lifestyle disease.
Yeah.
I mean, one has to say, come on, what's going on?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's great. Thanks for divulging all of that as well. Can we have what about things like I don't know, stress and alcohol? What would you say?
Well, again, my program consists of what's known as the 5 pillars of health. And I think I mentioned this. If you ignore one of these pillars, well, you're not going to get the results.
Okay.
And the pillars are nutrition, exercise and movement, sleep quality, stress management, and being mindful of alcohol consumption. Don't mean to say you got to quit. I'm from England. It's a drinking nation. It's all over the world, alcohol is very popular.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you're going to go out and have a glass of wine with dinner, you go meet somebody for an happy hour, or you go to a function.
Yeah.
But you really need 6 drinks. You need to be sat at home most nights drinking alcohol. I'd say if you want to be healthy, the answer's no.
No. Okay. No, I'm with you on that. I mean, I've had my own, my share, which I've been open and very about battles in the past, which with
So
alcohol.
have I.
So
same here.
drinking every night, but now I seriously reduced it. So in the last
same here, and it's life's better, right, Alan?
Absolutely, totally.
You have more energy. You wake up on the morning.
Controlled by the alcohol. I control the alcohol. That's it. Yeah.
And I think that's a question one has to ask themselves when it comes to alcohol: is this intentional, or is it habitual?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great. Yeah, no, thank you for that. And what are the small everyday habits that quietly drain people's energy without them even realizing it?
Yeah, well, I would say, first of all, with the 5 pillars, I always start with my clients with nutrition. Okay. But I also say, here's a good place to start, is just becoming aware of some of the ingredients that are used in these fast foods and processed foods, like refined sugar, white flour, processed starches, high fructose corn syrup. And let's not forget all the inflammatory seed oils like corn, canola, rapeseed, soy, sunflower, safflower. They're all damaging to your health. Right. And where do we find all these ingredients? They are cleverly hidden in foods that people are consuming or over-consuming on a daily basis. Fast food, anything in a box, tub, packet, can, wrapper. And then you've also, here's a great place to start too, is look at your soda, sports drinks, energy drinks, even fruit juices, and those specialty sugary coffee drinks, because they're all sugar bombs.
Yeah, I know. It's the sugar content is one of those evil substances that I remember reading a book when I was in my 20s about it. I sort of, that was enough. That was the catalyst for me to stop instantly taking sugar in coffee, tea, and then thinking about everything that contains sugar. Yeah.
That's right, Alan, because people are not aware, and me included, when I started to get my health on track, I was actually shocked to how much sugar I was consuming on a daily basis, because I don't think I've had one client come to me and go, no, I don't eat sugar. And then when we start finding what they eat, they send me photographs of what they've had for breakfast, lunch and dinner. It's like, well, you've probably had about 50, 60 grams of sugar. No, I go, yes, you have. Yeah. So like I said, it's cleverly hidden. It's used for a reason. It's because it's addictive.
Yeah.
And they want you to be addicted to these products. So if I could just quickly, anybody listening here, I think for me, once I found out about blood sugar and insulin and what it actually does, then for me, it woke me up. Because it really is the trigger, really. It's the trigger look, at the root of every single lifestyle disease, something to do with blood sugar and insulin, period.
Yeah.
Because it causes inflammation. So between all that, you slowly drift, and it's easier now than ever to drift into metabolic dysfunction. Again, children and teenagers. That don't tell you enough. I don't know what is, but again, just for your listeners.
I mean, that's evident. That's in plain sight as we walk around. You can see the difference from 20, 30 years ago with obesity and with younger kids
exactly.
as well.
It's a rarity when we were growing. When I was growing up as a teenager in the mid-70s, I didn't know anybody walking around overweight, distended belly, and type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. It was a rarity.
It was a rarity.
It's all started. Yeah, it was a rarity. So if I could just quickly let your listeners know that when you eat, or depending on what you drink, your blood sugars will rise, right? That's natural. And it's insulin's job to move the sugar out of the bloodstream into the liver and muscle cells as quickly and as efficiently as it can. And that's normal because that's where it's stored for fuel and energy. And like I said, that's normal. However, when blood sugar and insulin levels are spiked repeatedly, hour after hour, day after day, week after week, from the ingredients, which we mentioned earlier, refined carbohydrates, sugar, and all the ingredients cleverly hidden in fast food and processed food and snacks. And let's not forget the sugary drinks, soda, sports drinks, energy. Well, then what you're doing is your constantly elevated insulin will lead to weight gain. Non-alcohol fatty liver, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and I could go on and on and on. Right. So if you're struggling with weight loss, then it's a clear sign that you're producing too much insulin.
Okay.
Because insulin is known as the fat storage hormone.
Great. That's a great example.
And when it comes to, let's just stick with weight loss for a second. Too much alcohol. Well, that's going to hinder your weight loss. Not only hinder weight loss, it's going to cause weight gain.
Yeah. Stress.
That's another one. You're producing cortisol, the stress hormone, which disrupts your blood sugar and insulin levels. Poor sleep. People don't understand there's a morning routine and an evening routine you need to adhere to. Otherwise, the same thing. Your body's stressed out, nervous system's on edge, and your blood sugar and insulin's getting disrupted. And the same goes with the sedentary life, lack of movement and exercise. And then the obvious one is nutrition. So if you're looking to lose weight, you've got to work on all 5 pillars. And again, it can be overwhelming. So just start with one new habit. Identify, let's just say nutrition. Identify, and this is where people get stuck because they don't understand what identify your unhealthy habits are around nutrition, because there's just no information out there. There's no education out there how to be healthy. And that's why we've got 80% of the nations on medication and sick. Yeah,
I know. I mean, I'm aware of the stats in the United States and in the UK as well. I mean, it's quite depressing. It's
disruptive. I mean, it is. It's disturbing.
Can I ask one question, which is very related to what you've been talking about? Because often there is some confusion, and there are different factions of people with different types of diet. For example, if you take in the extreme of the carnivore diet, they will talk about you really have to reduce. And I've heard people talking about things like vegetables, which has got broccoli contains sugar, and it's sort of that extreme I personally don't go to that extreme at all, ever, because I think that, I really enjoy my vegetables thing. Some they would say, oh no, you don't eat vegetables, you only eat meat. So you've got that extreme. Where would you, in your own understanding and research, where would you draw the line on what constitutes bad sugar and what constitutes good sugar?
Yeah, well, again, there's when people say carbohydrates, they don't. I see it all the time on social media. They're not getting specific.
Yeah.
There's two types of carbohydrates: what's known as simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates.
Okay.
The simple carbohydrates will spike your blood sugar no end.
Yeah, can you give us an example of what that would be?
Yeah, sure. Again, white refined flour, white refined sugar, starches. I'm going to say all the things what are hidden in fast food and processed food.
Yeah.
And then you get what's called complex carbohydrates, which is fruit and vegetables. Now, because they are all like fiber.
Yeah.
Fiber helps slow the digestion of carbohydrates.
Okay.
So if you eat fruit or you eat vegetables, you're not spiking your blood sugar, high and for a long duration. So fruit, vegetables is fine. What I say is slowly, week by week, start to make all your meals from real whole food.
Yeah, okay.
Lean organic meats and chicken, wild caught fish, seafood, fruits and vegetable, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds and herbs and spices.
Right.
You can make, that's what people, we were just talking, that's what people have been eating since mankind.
Yeah.
And they've thrived on it. It's only recently, these last 30 years, people and children are getting sick because we've moved away from eating real food.
Yeah.
We've been indoctrinated into these quick fixes, instant gratification, food available everywhere. Can't be bothered cooking. I haven't got time.
Yeah, of course.
I say make time.
Yeah, just eat. Sort of. That's it.
Just make time before you're forced to make time for an illness.
Yeah, no,
So,
absolutely.
and I say, if anybody's listening to this and they might have 3 or 4 pillars to work on, start with your nutrition and do this. That first meal of the day, first of all, this 3 meals and snacking in between, that's what's getting you in trouble.
Okay.
Because you're eating the wrong foods.
Yeah.
If you start to make your meals out of real whole food, you'll find that this need for snacking, it just disappears.
Would you go for protein? A lot of protein in the morning, for example, or would you be somebody who would go for eggs in the morning?
That's it, mate. You've hit the nail on the head. Here's a great way to start: is your first meal of the day is very important. Now, let's just say you went to bed. You've been in bed for 8 hours. You didn't eat. I say, ideally, you don't eat or drink alcohol 3 hours before you go to bed. This is part of the sleep routine.
Yeah.
No alcohol and no food. You go to bed for 8 hours, you get up. That's about 10, 11 hours where you've had no food.
Yeah.
So here's where people make the mistake. They wake up, well, beside the going for caffeine, avoid the caffeine first thing on the morning, avoid scrolling on your phones. But when it comes to what you eat, don't go for the so-called traditional breakfast, which is sweet. You need a savory breakfast. Yeah. So don't be going for your cereals, your jam on toast, your muffins, your pancakes, your donuts, because what's going to happen, you're going to spike your blood sugar and for a long duration, and you're going to set yourself up. I mean, it's not the way to set your day up. Then you're going to get an energy crash, an energy spike, and then you're going to crash. So that's what happens 2 hours later. Oh, I need a snack. And people just usually go for snacks, which are full of sugar again.
Yeah.
So have that first meal of the day. What about this? What about a 3, even a 4? Don't be scared of eggs. Don't be scared of meat. They got vilified in the mid-'80s. And it wasn't too far after that they realised, no, that's wrong. But they never said or did anything about it. because they want you to buy their frickin' fast food and processed food.
Yeah.
So what about a three egg scramble with some mushrooms, red pepper, fresh garlic?
Yeah.
Put whatever you want in there.
Yeah.
Half an avocado or a full avocado.
You're describing my this is what I eat all the time. All of these things. That's
right,
my
mate.
diet.
Because, well, look, you're eating real food.
Yeah.
And
I'm aware.
and then for these people who, let's just say, they get up on a morning, they're running late, they might have to deal with the kids.
Yeah.
And if you've got kids, that's the type of breakfast you should be feeding your kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Not freaking cereal. So if you're in a bit of a rush, because here's what I'll do sometimes. I mean, I fast for 16 hours, and that's an all different conversation.
Yeah, okay.
You got to work your way into fasting. But if you're in a rush and you don't have time to make this breakfast, which really only takes about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So again, it's this, stop making these excuses. You don't have time. Get up early. How's about taking with you, rather than leaving the house and swinging by a fast food restaurant, how's about taking 2 hard-boiled eggs, a couple of kiwis, some cheese off the block, avocado, some mixed nuts.
Yeah.
That there's going to give you protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Because every meal I'm about to make, I say to myself, where's my protein coming from?
Yeah.
Because I only eat 2 meals a day. I need to make sure I'm getting 35-40 grams of protein.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I mean, I probably I would eat more often in the day, but I'm aware of the different components, and I eat a heck of a lot of avocados and eggs.
I do too, mate. I love them.
Yeah, as well as meat as well now these days. Hi.
I've lost you. Sorry there, sir. Sorry.
You just appeared on this camera. Yeah, no worries. Anyway, that's really interesting. Thank you so much. And I'd like to sort of move on to...
And then, but here's just one more to add to that.
Yeah, sure.
Anytime you eat food, move your body afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just the norm to eat food and go, I'll sit down and let it digest. That's the worst thing you can do, because again, when you eat food, regardless what you eat, it's going to do something to your blood sugars.
Yes.
Now, if you eat what we just said, you're going to have a small spike at a short duration. Now, if you move your body, maybe take your dog for a walk, do some house cleaning, wash your floors, clean your bathroom, go clean your car out, go organize your garage, then the energy you're using for that is going to suck that blood sugar out of your bloodstream to use for energy. It's going to make that spike even smaller and even shorter. And that really is what it's about, is being conscious of whatever you eat or drink. Say, what is this going to do to my blood sugars?
Right. Good.
Without having to prick your finger or wear a continuous glucose monitor. Just because I have a type 2 diabetes prick thing, and periodically I'm for curiosity, nothing else. I wonder what my blood sugars were like 2 hours after I had that meal. I wonder what my blood sugars are like when I wake up on the morning. I wonder what they're like when I go to bed. Now, it's not something I do every day. Might do it 3 or 4 times a week, because it gives me that satisfaction. Great. Well, whatever I'm doing, I'm controlling my blood sugars.
Good. That's something I don't really ever think about, is how to control the blood sugar. So you're giving me some good tips there. And the other things that you've mentioned as well, that's been reiterated, because having had so many guests over, and I see the same sort of themes coming up, and so I know that this must work. And I'm talking with people that are the epitome of health, that are, they've taken care of themselves, and you can see them as exemplifying that health in themselves. So it obviously is that's the beauty of doing these podcasts, is that I am able to have these guests on and get those things, because like many people, takes a while for things to sink in. It
does, mate, for most people, including myself.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I need this kind of repetition, this consolidation over and over again. It's like, eureka! I have finally realized.
Mm,
That's how you
mm,
do it. Okay, but you do need to
right. And,
experiment, and you need to have that information from various sources in
mm,
order for it to ring true, and then you'll try it, and that's where you'll see
mm,
the magic really does work if you start to
right.
implement these
Right.
types of things. Yeah.
And I think, Alan, look, if you look at the 5 pillars, I'm not going to call them tips and tricks, but I'm going to call them tips and tricks. Within each of these 5 pillars, there's like tips and tricks that people don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know because, again, there's lack of information out there on them. It's like your sleep routine,
Yeah.
which I think might be the most overlooked pillar.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
honestly do. I think
It's
it might be the most overlooked pillar.
it's funny you say that because I've done like 84 episodes on my podcast, but the last two were solo ones, and I looked at the sleep on both of those. And the first one, I was talking about how important sleep was, and I brought in a story about a well-known athlete and also LeBron James, and how important how he would use that as his main weapon in order to, it's part of his training was sleep.
Yeah.
But then a listener got in contact and said, well, that's all very well, but what about people like myself? We can't sleep that. We don't sleep that well. So we need tips on the sleep. And then I did a next episode on this topic of how you create the best environment for you to sleep well.
Right.
So it's something which I'd not really touched on in 80 odd episodes of looking at it. I was like, oh, sleep, that really is fundamental. It does seem to come up a lot when people are speaking on this topic. So it was,
And there's a morning routine and an evening routine.
Yeah.
And when you get these routines down, you create what's called a circadian rhythm. So that your body's in this circadian rhythm and it automatically knows when it's time to wind down based on what are you doing to signal that to your body.
Yeah. Sure.
This sat watching Netflix, snacking until you go to bed and turn it all off. No,
Yeah.
can't do that.
Okay.
The same when you wake up. People wake up, they go straight for the caffeine, they're scrolling on the phone, they're on the internet and they're doing that now. Cortisol's rising and your nervous system's on edge. So again, there's so many, even within nutrition, you've probably heard of blood sugar hacks.
Yeah. Of course. I've heard of all the hacks around now. I mean,
Right. Well, that's what I mean by tips and tricks. There's so many hacks within each pillar. If you're not aware of them, then you're trouble. And I don't know if you know this, but I did write this book.
Oh, I think I read about this. Yeah.
Small steps, big results. And I've got it primarily a weight loss book. But again, what I found with my clients is it's all the same, whether you want to reduce your blood pressure, your blood sugars, you want to lose weight, you want to get more quality sleep. It's the same process. It's just the same process.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for that. And obviously, when we come nearer, I'd like to ask you, obviously, for your details and any other stuff that you can provide for us for the show notes. But I have another question here, which we've been talking a lot about things that you can do and the great tips, etc. And you've been giving a wealth of knowledge especially about nutrition and to help people with weight loss and to feel better, etc. But busy professionals, where do busy professionals usually go wrong? Even when many of them think they are being healthy.
Well, I think that goes back to, again, there's just, I honestly can't find any education hardly on how to be healthy. Now, you're talking to busy professionals. They may be dealing with too much stress and not knowing how to manage that stress.
Yeah, okay. Would that be...
And they might be having poor sleep quality. So again, it's just one has to at some point educate yourself or be educated about the 5 pillars of health and break it down to your own I need to work on this pillar. I need to work on this pillar. And these are the things I need to work on. And let's just say you're dealing with your sleep routine. Then you just make that one simple change.
Yeah.
This week. And then the next week, add another change to the sleep pillar.
Okay.
And then another change.
In the case of the stress that you just mentioned, though, would you have any kind of quick fixes people can do in order to reduce their stress? Anything that would spring?
Yeah, well, when it comes down to stress, we can't always eliminate stress, right? It's just a part of being human, and you only have to turn the TV on, and most people are stressed with work or family.
Yeah.
But you can learn to manage it. And I think, first of all, just becoming aware of what is driving your stress.
Yeah.
And obviously, sometimes it's work, family, and things. And you've just got to identify where your stress is coming from. And then you've got to set better boundaries with people.
Yeah, right.
And set better boundaries with people. I mean, stress is it's a really big
be more assertive, sort of with people in order to say no to things or to decline projects.
Exactly. Especially if you're in like corporate world, or even if you have a stressful job, maybe your boss is stressing you out. Well, then ask yourself: is my boss stressing me out because I'm showing up late and I'm not doing my job? Well, then your boss deserves to be picking on you. If your boss is just picking on you because they don't like you, you need to go somebody above him and not be scared about getting let go or fired.
Yeah.
If it comes to a family member, especially if it's children, you're in charge of your children. Set better boundaries. I hear it all the time. Oh, my kids are driving me nuts. But set better boundaries with them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So obviously boundaries.
Right. And just be aware of where it's coming from, because I think a lot of the time we actually bring a lot of stress on ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true for sure.
Yeah, very true. And I think when it comes to any of these pillars, you need to get yourself a diary or a work pad, a notepad, and you need to write down page 1, nutrition, exercise and movement, page 3, 4, 5, write them down, and then where stress goes, okay, how do I reduce this stress with this person? And sometimes it's getting away from that person if you can.
Yeah.
Because you've got friends who are stressing you out. I don't think they're friends personally.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's
right.
Good. Yeah, for sure.
Get rid of what you can and reduce what you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that sort of brings you into the idea of reducing or minimizing your things around you, reducing clutter, reducing your space, so you can clear your own head as well. So you're doing the same thing with people as you would with actual objects around you. So you're keeping things clean.
Right, because when you do start to manage your stress, well, everything improves. Your focus improves. Sleep improves. Your recovery improves, and over time, well, your overall health and happiness improve, because stress is a big debilitator.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you very much on that. And anyway, Graham, before we finish, I would like, if people are listening and they're thinking, this is exactly what I need, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Look, I'll make it simple. You go to my website, simplyhealthconscious.com.
Okay.
And if you go to my website at simplyhealthconscious.com, you can find a free downloadable nutrition guide with meal recipes and meal ideas. So that's free. Just download that and start to make meals. Maybe add your own vegetables or fruits or meats. If you don't like meat, don't eat meat, but make sure you're getting ample protein at the end of the day. And also there's videos on there. There's all my social media links. on there. There's a link to my book on there. So yeah, just visit my website and see if anybody wants to reach out to me for a one-on-one complimentary consultation. All my information's in there. So yeah, simplyhealthconscious.com. And
Brilliant.
Here's something else. I might not have said this, but it takes years, even decades, to develop lifestyle disease. Yeah. So it's not where you are right now. It's where are you heading?
Yeah, exactly. So in other words, also trying to put those steps in place now before you keep going down that road, which is going to be slowly that road which will take you down that awful path. Yeah, for sure.
Because once you get on that road, you go down that road pretty quickly, and who knows what can happen.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you look like the paragon of health for somebody. Obviously you've revealed your age by talking about being a teenager in the 1970s. So
right, yeah. Well, I'm in my mid-60s. I'm playing soccer 3 times a week. I eat healthy. I exercise. When I'm not playing soccer, I'll do a little bit of strength training because, remember, that's where your glucose is stored, in your muscles.
Yeah.
You don't want to get in your 60s, 70s and 80s and have no muscle because then you've no storage tanks.
Exactly. Fantastic. Yeah, and I didn't realise that until a few years ago.
I've reduced my stress. I went from drinking a bottle of wine a night to maybe a bottle of wine a month. Right, to a bottle of wine a month.
Wow.
I don't crave it anymore. I don't want it anymore. I treat it as a treat. Yeah, if I go meet a friend for happy hour, I can sit there for an hour and a half with a glass of wine. If I go out for dinner, glass of wine, conversation, have my meal, don't crave it, don't want it. So look, I've worked hard on these 5 pillars. And again, don't get a month or 2 into it and you don't have all the results. It takes time.
Yeah.
But sure. I'd say if you really focus and you get 6 to 8 weeks into it, you will not only see the benefits, but you'll feel the benefits.
Yeah.
And that is motivation to keep you going. And then when you go back to your doctor to get your blood work done again and your triglyceride and HDL ratios improved and you look at your liver function, your kidney function, you go, wow, it's changing. This is good. Let me keep at it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Really, really good. Thank you, Graham. Really appreciate everything your time today, and you've given some great, simple ideas that people can actually go away and use, obviously, straight away.
Well, it's hard in this half hour to really get everything through, but I just say to your clients that, self-care is the new healthcare. Yeah. And don't let yourself down, because your health without your health, you got nothing.
Absolutely. And I've been saying that for so many times. Your health is the number one priority, without a shadow of a doubt. And it comes definitely the passion. I can hear it in your voice on this very topic. So you are passionate about getting that message across. So I know we've got to go, but real quickly for your listeners, the reason I got into this is by watching both my brother and my father become debilitated through other conditions caused by type 2 diabetes. And when I say disabilities, my father passed away riddled with gangrene, 12 medications, 5 years housebound, heart attack, 7 other chronic illnesses, and it led him to depression, anger. It's not the way you want to end your life. No, gosh, no.
Is it?
No,
not me.
No, I mean, you have the perfect catalyst, really, in order to make those shifts. Sometimes it takes... something that
unfortunately
as that, to do that. So
don't wait until you have a medical emergency before you start making lifestyle changes. Make them now.
Exactly.
Avoid that.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, if anybody's out there listening, I'm sure there are many people these days that's getting bigger, the podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and share it with anybody who might need to hear this. And I think many people do need to hear this. So as always, please, everybody there, stay well, stay energized. And a big thank you very much to Graham Hawley for coming on the show. Thanks, Graham. And I bid you farewell.
Pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it, Alan.
Take care. All right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.